the cameras flashed, the crowd froze. And just like that, Hollywood had a brand new obsession.
Oh, absolutely. It was like the whole world just stopped spinning for a second.
Seriously. Welcome to Starscope Report. Join us as we uncover Hollywood drama, music industry shakeups, and viral influencer scandals. From red carpet surprises to social media controversies, we dive deep into the stories behind the fame.
And today, we have a massive one. We are doing a deep dive into an event that practically broke the internet.
Yeah, we are talking about the fact that Paul McCartney delivered an unforgettable surprise at Taylor Swift's wedding, which is just, it's a headline that still gives me chills.
It really is. It essentially merged the absolute zenith of the global music industry with the peak of American sports.
Exactly. So picture this. You are walking down 7th Avenue in Manhattan on a suffocatingly humid July evening. It's July 3, 2026. You look up, and the Empire State Building is glowing entirely in blue.
Right, which the official observation deck account coyly called her something blue.
Yes. And lighting up the skyline all around it, practically blinding the pedestrians, are these hot pink digital billboards broadcasting one massive, undeniable message. Just NT, married. Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce had just tied the knot right in the middle of New York City.
But you know, what makes this so captivating isn't just the celebrity gossip aspect. It's the unprecedented military-grade logistical operation required to actually pull it off.
And that is exactly the mission of our deep dive today. We are not just here to report on who caught the bouquet.
No, definitely not.
To figure out how this happened, we've pulled together a massive stack of sources. We've got deleted social media posts from attendees, leaked logistical manifests that really revealing Graham Norton interview Swift gave a few months ago, TMZ reports, and even a recent BBC interview.
We're going to deconstruct the mechanics, the scale, and the heavy cultural weight of an event that reportedly cost between $20 and $25 million.
It's just staggering. So let's jump right into the setting, because looking at these leaked manifests, I am honestly baffled. They chose Madison Square Garden, MSG.
The world's most famous arena.
Right. Usually when you envision a billionaire's wedding, you picture, I don't know, a remote island, an ancient European castle, or a completely private vineyard.
Yeah, somewhere isolated.
Exactly. Trying to host a cozy, romantic, candlelit wedding ceremony in a 20,000-seat sports arena feels a bit like trying to host an intimate family dinner in the middle of a busy airport terminal.
That is a great comparison.
How do you physically and psychologically fabricate intimacy in a space that massive?
Well, you have to fundamentally alter the identity of the space. You don't just rent MSG, you actively erase it. You're fighting millions of cubic feet of empty air and concrete.
Which sounds impossible.
It does, but according to a fascinating, since-deleted ex-post from AMC Theater CEO Adam Sandler, who was actually one of the guests the moment you walked through the doors, MSG was completely unrecognizable.
Oh.
Yeah, they draped the entire entrance in peach and white fabrics, completely obscuring the usual steel and glass. But the real psychological trick was in the decor. As guests walked in, they were greeted by these giant blown-up childhood photos of Taylor and Travis.
Okay, that is a very clever misdirection.
Right. They were matched year by year, from one-year-olds in diapers all the way to their awkward late teens.
You're immediately anchoring this massive commercial corporate space with deep personal nostalgia. You literally force the guests to stop looking up at the cavernous concrete ceilings and instead focus their eyes at eye level on these intimate, humanizing memories.
Precisely. You shift the scale from the architectural down to the personal. And then for the actual ceremony space, they cordoned off a remarkably small portion of the arena floor.
How small are we talking?
Well, they used a technique event planners call ceiling compression.
Wait, what is that?
It's where you suspend fabrics and lighting grids much lower than the actual roof to create a false, intimate ceiling. They completely removed any visual cue that you were in a place where the Knicks or the Rangers play.
That is wild.
Instead, sources described a lush countryside retreat built directly over the concrete. They hauled in an actual forest of real flowers and massive artificial trees. They arranged 15 rows of about 75 chairs each.
So you have around 1,000 guests, but because of the physical boundaries constructed by the dense foliage and the draped fabrics, the acoustics and the visuals felt incredibly close.
Exactly. A literal garden inside the garden.
The logistics of just keeping a forest of real flowers alive in an air-conditioned arena during a New York summer it's mind-bending to me.
It really is.
And the aesthetic of the couple matched that highly elevated, bespoke vibe perfectly. They worked directly with Jonathan Anderson, the creative director of Christian Dior, to create custom haute couture looks for the ceremony. Taylor had the stunning Cartier jewelry and custom Christian Louboutin shoes.
But honestly, the thing that really stood out to me was the ceremony itself. They had Adam Sandler officiate.
I know. I couldn't believe that when I read it.
Yeah, and TMZ reported that he even sang an original comedic song for them during the ceremony. It perfectly highlights the blend they were going for. You have this extreme high-end luxury combined with a very grounded, humorous, and personal touch.
Right. And they completely scrapped the concept of a traditional wedding party, too.
Yeah, there was no army of bridesmaids in matching dresses or groomsmen in tuxedos. It was literally just Austin Swift serving as the man of honor and Jason Kelce as the best man.
I really appreciate that choice. Stripping away the excess where it actually matters, focusing on siblings, they reportedly read 20-minute handwritten vows from a golden book.
And here is where it gets so perfect that if you wrote it in a movie script, studio executives would reject it for being too on the nose.
Oh my gosh, yes, the weather.
Right. At exactly 7:22 p.m., the second they were pronounced husband and wife, a torrential downpour and a massive lightning storm struck New York City.
And as soon as it passed, a gigantic, vivid rainbow appeared directly over the Manhattan skyline.
It's what literature nerds call pathetic fallacy.
Pathetic fallacy.
Yeah, it's where the weather or the natural environment magically seems to perfectly match the human emotion of a specific moment. You literally could not engineer better pathetic fallacy if you tried.
And the guests immediately started eventually posting, comparing the weather to the lyrics of Swift's song Opalite. It's like the atmosphere itself decided to participate in the mythology of the day.
It really did.
But hey, real quick, if you are loving these Hollywood twists and the behind-the-scenes logistics of all this, make sure you're subscribed to Starscope Report. We've got even crazier stories ahead, so definitely hit that button.
Yes, definitely subscribe.
Now, I have to stop you there and push back on something we mentioned earlier, because we are talking about 1,000 guests sitting in those 15 rows. 1,000 people is not a secret gathering. That is a flash mob.
It is a massive crowd.
Even with the strictest NDA on Earth, human nature dictates that someone is going to text their mom, or a +1 is going to sneak a selfie in the bathroom. How did not a single grainy photo make it to Reddit or X before the couple wanted it to? How do you keep 1,000 people completely quiet in the age of compulsive social media?
That is the multi-million-dollar question. And the answer is that it requires military-grade operational security.
Okay, break that down for me.
First, let's look at who was in that room. The guest list was a who's who of global cultural influence. You have Bradley Cooper, Zoe Kravitz, Ed Sheeran, Tom Hanks, Sacha Baron Cohen, Bob Iger, Gigi Hadid.
Crazy star power.
Right. To manage a crowd with that much innate power, standard paper invitations don't work. Guests were issued highly encrypted, watermarked digital invitations that were legally bound by severe non-disclosure agreements.
Wait, how does a digital watermark actually stop a leak, though? Like, if I take a screenshot of my phone and send it to a tabloid, how do they know it was me?
Because of a technology called digital steganography?
Steganography.
Yeah. The invitation on your specific screen has an invisible layer of code, basically imperceptible variations in the pixel colors, or tiny microscopic patterns embedded in the image of the invitation itself.
Oh, wow. So it's hidden right in the image.
Exactly. If you screenshot it, or even if you take a secondary phone and take a photograph of your screen, that invisible pattern is captured. If that image ends up on a gossip blog, the security team runs it through a scanner, reads the invisible pattern, and instantly knows that the leak came specifically from, say, Bradley Cooper's unique invitation file.
That is terrifyingly brilliant. The sheer paranoia that must instill in a guest. You wouldn't dare pull your phone out.
Exactly. The technology acts as a psychological deterrent. But beyond the NDAs and the watermarks, the organizers utilized strict information compartmentalization.
Meaning they didn't give them all the details.
Right. Most of those 1,000 guests were flying completely blind. Over a dozen sources from various talent agencies confirmed that their celebrity clients were simply told to be in New York City on the morning of July 3.
That's it. Just be in New York.
That's it. They were not given a venue, a theme, or a schedule. You don't tell the assistants where the event is, you just tell them to secure a landing slot at Teterboro Airport. You can't leak what you fundamentally do not know.
Which completely explains how they avoided the paparazzi swarms at MSG until the last possible second. You know, I remember a Graham Norton interview Swift did back in October 2025, and Norton was actually at this wedding, by the
Oh,
way.
really? That's cool.
Yeah. She explicitly stated she wanted to go huge with her guest list if she ever got married. She said she didn't want the intense psychological stress of evaluating every single relationship and leaving people on the bubble.
That makes a lot of sense.
Her philosophy was, if you know someone and you like them, just invite them. That completely explains the 1,000-person head count. But they still managed to carve out smaller, highly curated moments for their actual inner circle, right?
They did, and they managed the logistics of that just as tightly. The night before the massive MSG event, they held a much more intimate rehearsal dinner for just 100 people at MSG's Infosys Theater.
Okay, so a much tighter group.
Very tight. And the attention to detail for the guest experience was remarkable. Attendees left that dinner with black velvet boxes etched with their combined initials, T and T. Inside each box was a diamond-adorned champagne flute and a beautifully candid engagement photo printed on frayed fabric.
Wow. And the wedding favor for the main 1,000-person event the next day was just as deeply personalized. Guests received these delicate ivory handkerchiefs embroidered with heavy lace. Right in the center was a stitched monogram of their initials, the date, the location, and a single lyric from her 2014 hit Blank Space. So it's going to be forever.
It is such brilliant, self-aware branding.
It really is. But if we connect this all to the bigger picture, the absolute most brilliant move they made wasn't the handkerchiefs, the digital watermarks, or the secret convoys.
Oh, you're talking about the philanthropy.
Yes. In the quiet days leading up to this $25 million wedding, the couple methodically donated $26 million to at least 20 different charities.
26 million.
Yeah.
Just quietly dispersed.
I saw the list. Food banks in New York and Los Angeles, Children's Mercy Hospital, massive grants to animal rescues, and endowments for music education programs. They literally offset the staggering cost of their own wedding by giving $1 million more to charity.
And that, right there, is an absolute masterclass in modern public relations and crisis management.
Totally.
When you are two billionaires throwing a $25 million party in the middle of a major city, the optics can turn against you in an instant. The cultural narrative can very quickly become about grotesque excess, wealth inequality, and being entirely out of touch with everyday reality.
Which happens to celebrities all the time.
All the time. But by injecting $26 million directly into vital community services right before the event took place, they entirely insulated themselves from that specific criticism.
It's like a shield.
It is. It preemptively balances the sheer opulence of the event with undeniable material generosity. It diffuses the whole eat the rich reflex before it even has a chance to form.
Because if anyone tries to write a think piece criticizing the cost of the flowers, the immediate counter-argument is, well, they just fully funded a children's hospital ward, so let them have their flowers.
Exactly. It's impenetrable armor.
So, with the PR secured and the vows exchanged, Andrea Swift, Taylor's mom, reportedly steps up and invites everyone into the reception room. And later in the deep dive, we're going to talk about a shocking twist nobody saw coming regarding the aftermath. But first, let's talk about this reception.
It sounded incredible.
You've got extravagant food stations everywhere, high-end sushi, regional Italian, endless bars. But the entertainment is where this transitions from being just a great celebrity party to a genuinely historic musical event.
The lineup of performers was staggering.
Yeah.
You had Stevie Nicks giving a very intimate acoustic performance. Tim McGraw, Ciara, Fergie all took the stage.
But the absolute climax of the night, the moment that will literally be written about in music history books, was when 84-year-old Sir Paul McCartney walked up to the microphone.
Okay, here is a universal truth of weddings. Usually, wedding bands play Beatles covers. That happens every weekend in every banquet hall in the world.
Right.
But what does it say about Taylor Swift's current status in the cultural pantheon? That an actual Beatle is her wedding singer.
It undeniably cements her as a direct peer to the absolute greatest legends in the history of recorded music.
Unquestionably.
And McCartney didn't just sing any random song from his catalog. He specifically chose to perform I Want to Hold Your Hand.
Which is such a specific, intentional choice.
This is crucial context for you listening. That track was the Beatles' first #1 hit in America back in 1964. It is the song that ignited the British invasion. The sources we have note that this is only the second time a Beatle has performed this specific song live since 1964.
Wow. The historical and cultural weight of that choice is profound. It's a deliberate generational bridge.
It's the ignition key of modern pop hysteria. And the mutual admiration between the two of them has been building quite publicly for years. They did that iconic Rolling Stone cover together back in 2020 where they interviewed each
I
other.
remember that, yeah.
And just a month before the wedding, Swift posted this glowing tribute to McCartney's new album, The Boys of Dungeon Lane, on her Instagram, calling him an eternally exceptional artist and saying she is never not inspired by him.
And McCartney clearly feels a deep paternal, or perhaps grandpaternal, affection and respect for her.
Definitely.
In a recent BBC interview, he was asked directly about Swift's astronomical level of fame. He openly acknowledged the parallels, saying you definitely see the comparison between Beatlemania and the worldwide fame Taylor Swift currently commands. He very affectionately referred to himself as the granddad to her generation of pop stars.
Having him stand on a stage and sing, "I Want to Hold Your Hand," the exact song that brought screaming hysteria to the United States, to the woman who has arguably recreated and even surpassed that exact level of hysteria in the 21st century, it honestly gives me chills.
It is the ultimate passing of the torch, beautifully wrapped up as a wedding gift.
It really is. Inside the venue, they had total control. Paul McCartney is singing, the guests are bound by NDAs. Every single variable is managed by a team of experts.
Exactly. But the second the sun came up on July 4th, that $25 million illusion of control completely shattered.
Which brings us to the aftermath and what happened when they tried to step out of that bubble. And hey, just a quick reminder, stay tuned and hit that subscribe button so you don't miss what's coming next, because this is where things get really messy.
Very messy. So the couple's stated desire was to go completely off the grid. The reported actual itinerary for their honeymoon sounds like a logistical marvel in itself.
Oh, for sure.
They planned weeks of continuous traveling, supposedly starting in the Bahamas to just decompress, then launching into a massive European tour through Lake Como, the French Riviera, Greece, and Croatia, before ending up in Fiji and Hawaii.
It's an itinerary specifically designed to outrun the paparazzi across multiple global time zones. They wanted total radio silence.
Right. But as we know all too well, the mechanics of the modern internet inherently abhor a vacuum.
They really do.
When the most famous couple in the world suddenly demands privacy, completely stops generating content, and vanishes from the grid, the algorithm will violently invent content to fill that silence.
Which brings us to the viral misinformation crisis that erupted mere hours after they said "I do." A parody account on X posted a highly convincing but completely fabricated claim that Taylor and Travis had immediately jetted off to Israel for their honeymoon.
Now, we need to be explicitly clear here for you listening. This rumor was entirely false.
100% false.
It was a manufactured claim originating from a known troll account. But what is vital to analyze here is the immediate chaotic chain reaction that this specific falsehood triggered across the globe.
Right. And to be clear, we are not taking any political sides here. We're just looking at how the internet reacted. This fake tweet essentially acted as a Rorschach test for social media. Within minutes, half of social media was using this fake headline to aggressively do back-of-the-napkin math on their carbon footprint.
Yeah, they were calculating that a flight like that would emit 8,300 tons of CO2 and angrily demanding to know where the climate protesters were.
Exactly. Meanwhile, the other half of the internet was using it to furiously debate the intense geopolitical implications of the rumored destination, questioning how such a trip aligned with the couple's perceived political values.
The outrage was deafening, it was instantaneous, and it was entirely based on a phantom event.
It's like creating a massive vacuum in a wind tunnel. When you suck all the oxygen out of a room by refusing to post anything, the algorithm will violently suck in whatever debris is lying around to fill the pressure drop, even if that debris is a complete, verifiable lie.
The algorithm doesn't care about truth. It cares about arousal. It prioritizes high-emotion engagement like anger and moral superiority.
People didn't pause for 10 seconds to verify the source. They just reacted emotionally to the headline.
And this highlights an incredible vulnerability at the heart of extreme fame. Swift and Kelce literally spent tens of millions of dollars and deployed military-level security to maintain absolute control of their narrative for one night inside Madison Square Garden.
But the moment they stepped outside and simply tried to disappear on a beach in the Bahamas, the global public narrative was entirely hijacked by a teenager with a fake X account, generating very real, very intense, real-world anger.
It shows that when you reach a certain echelon of celebrity, your actual physical reality begins to matter far less to the public than the reality the internet projects onto you. Your image effectively becomes open source code that anyone, anywhere, can manipulate to harvest engagement and push their own agendas.
Okay, let's bring all of these threads together. We started in a completely transformed Madison Square Garden, draped in peach and white, where 1,000 of the most famous people on Earth, legally bound by digital watermarks, watched a couple exchange vows out of a golden book.
We examined a brilliant PR masterclass where a $25 million party was insulated by a preemptive $26 million charitable donation to food banks and hospitals.
We witnessed an incredibly rare historical milestone with Paul McCartney serenading the bride, acknowledging a very real generational shift in superstardom.
And finally, we saw how fragile the illusion of control really is. The moment you try to step away from the spotlight, the algorithmic wind tunnel rushes in to fill the void with weaponized misinformation.
Why does a deep dive into a celebrity wedding actually matter to you? Because it is far more than just pop culture gossip. It is a real-time, fascinating observation of event planning at the absolute highest logistical level.
It is a brilliant study in crisis management and the creation of modern mythology. It shows us exactly how our culture operates when the titans of music and sports collide at the very apex of American entertainment.
And perhaps most importantly, it serves as a stark, undeniable warning about modern media consumption. It proves that no amount of money, security, or fame can protect you from the terrifying velocity of algorithmic misinformation.
It is a constant reminder to interrogate the source before reacting to the viral outrage of the day.
Which brings me back to the image we started with. The glowing blue Empire State Building. The pink billboards. The total, inescapable domination of the New York skyline. It leaves you wondering if a $25 million event with 1,000 global icons can be kept entirely hidden from the public until the exact moment they want us to see it. What else is happening in plain sight?
That is a great question.
Are we entering an era where stealth luxury isn't just about the quiet, unbranded clothes billionaires wear, but an entirely invisible, parallel society they live in right beneath our noses? Are our biggest stars engineering a completely separate reality that we only get to see when they decide to lift a curtain?
It is a profound and honestly slightly unsettling thought to consider.
It really is. Well, you've been listening to Starscope Report, where Jordan and Jamie uncover the stories shaping Hollywood, music, and pop culture. Thanks for tuning in, and don't forget to subscribe for more stories that keep the stars shining.